The urges federal government to find lasting solution to challenge of flooding in Nigeria. National Human Rights Commission partners ABS on protection of citizens' rights. Senate committee commends President Buhari for increasing budgetary provisions of Council of Legal Education as Iran accuses Western countries of promoting violence in the Islamic Republic. Hello, beautiful morning to you and welcome to Breakfast News. I am David Okwasile. Before the news in detail, here is a special message. Governor Twuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's give him maximum support for the task ahead. We begin from the government house where relief materials worth over 80 million naira have been donated to Anambra State government by Semeko Foundation to help cushion the effects of flooding on those affected by this year's deluge. Governor Twuma Soludo took delivery of the materials at the State Emergency Management Agency SEMA office in Awka. Correspondent Ngozi Obileri covered the event and now reports.
Items received from Semeko Foundation by Governor Soludo includes 650 kg bags of rice, 60 50 kg bags of beans, 60 50 kg bags of gari, 500 pieces of 3 feet 6 inches mattresses, 500 cartons of noodles, 600 tubers of yam, 50 cartons of tinned tomatoes, 30 cartons of washing soap, 30 jerry cans of palm oil, 30 cartons of beverages, 30 cartons of milk, 50 jerry cans of vegetable oil, 10 bags of salt, 10 cartons of seasoning, 1 lorry load of baby mattresses, a cash of 2.5 million naira among others. Receiving the items, Governor Soludo appreciated Sir Emeko for whom he said is helping humanity through his foundation. Governor Soludo who said that the gesture and others the benefactor has done in the past are practical examples of living for humanity and recalled his role in the eradication of polio in Nigeria, which earned him the title Polio Ambassador. He regretted that Anambra has been facing series of fire disaster and landslides in which thousands of lives, farms and houses among many other properties were lost. The governor called on the federal government to tackle the challenge of flooding by constructing dams which he called speed breakers to check the movement of flood from Cameroon Dam.
It was a very, very major national crisis, touching I think more than 10 states or so. But Anambra, well, I understand Anambra was rated to be number 2 in terms of states affected after Jigawa. But if you now think about the collateral damages of this, because the flooding came not just by the number of people who died, or even the roads and bridges that were swept off, or the hundreds of thousands of families that were displaced.
Earlier, while presenting the materials, the Chief of Staff, Semeko Foundation, retired Assistant Inspector General of Police, Chris Ezike, said the gesture was in line with the passion and commitment of Semeko to charity and humanitarian services to the people, and commiserated with Governor Soludo over the disaster that claimed many lives, displaced over 40,000 people in about 7 local council areas across the state. He commended Governor Soludo for the uncommon leadership skills he has exhibited since he assumed office, thanking him for creating over 30 camps where the displaced persons were taken to for safety.
Well, Semeka will always tell you that he was not born with silver spoon in his mouth, and he asked God for one favor. If you do give me the spirit to give back to the society. And he's giving back. So every local government, Anambra East, out of the 40,000 plus displaced people, 21,000 are from Anambra East. So they are getting almost half of the consignment.
The Executive Secretary SEMA, Sir Paul Odenigbo, who expressed appreciation to Sir Emeko Foundation for this gesture, which he said will go a long way in alleviating the plight of the affected persons, called on more individuals and organizations to do their own part to give the affected persons hope to live again.
Anybody who can help. Yeah, because too many people are displaced and they need this help. I'm telling you that.
In their separate speeches, the Chief of Staff to the Governor, Sir Ernest Eza Ajoye, Chief Protocol to the Governor and Deputy Chief of Staff, Mr. Chinedu Nwoye, commended the intervention by Semeko Foundation and called on every Onyanambra to contribute their quota, no matter how little, even as they pledged that the items would get to the affected persons. In Awka, I am Ngozi Obileri for ABS News.
Another development, Governor Chukwuma Soludo has congratulated Dame Virginia Etiaba on her 80th birthday. A statement signed by the State Commissioner for Information Support wants to say the governor noted that Dame Virginia Etiaba, as she's fondly called, scored one of the many firsts for Anambra State in 2006 when she made history as the first female governor in Nigeria. The statement noted that within her short stay in office, she was able to work on critical infrastructure, especially roads, noting that during that brief but remarkable tenure, her motherly disposition came to the fore as she signed the Anambra State Child Rights Act into law, thus creating a legal instrument to effectively check child abuse in the state. It also said that Dame Virginia Etiaba's exemplary work as an educationist for 35 years took her through the length and breadth of the country before founding the Bennett Etiaba Memorial Schools, Nnewi, which has continued to set the pace in learning. The statement added that Governor Soludo enjoined women to emulate Dame Virgie, who has not only acquitted herself creditably as a good mother and an outstanding teacher, but also as a quintessential public servant. Anambra State House of Assembly has said that it will painstakingly look at the 2023 appropriation bill and come up with a framework that will satisfy the intent of the government and developmental needs of the state. The Speaker, Anambra State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Uche Okafor, gave the assurance during the presentation of the 2023 appropriation bill of about 259 billion naira to Anambra State House of Assembly by Governor Chukwuma Soludo. House of Assembly correspondent Chukwuemeka Modelim now reports.
The Speaker observed that the governor, within 8 months in office, flagged off over 200 kilometers of roads for construction across the state, employed many teachers, improved the security architecture and environmental sanitation, among others, to fast-track development of the state.
Chukwuma Soludo, the Executive Governor of Anambra State, and your distinguished entourage to the State House of Assembly for Mr. Governor's presentation of the 2023 budget estimate. Mr. Governor, we recall that during your last presentation of the 2022 revised budget to this House, you made particular reference to the massive flag-off of roads construction across the state, as well as aggressive tackling of insecurity, among other highlights of that revised budget. It is also on good record that many other provisions in that budget, such as sanitation, education, agriculture, among others, are receiving commendable attention.
He appreciated Governor Soludo for providing funds and other materials for the rehabilitation of flood-displaced persons through the Anambra State Emergency Management Agency, assuring the governor that the 2023 appropriation bill would be given expeditious passage to meet his vision for the state.
For a law to provide for the sum of 258,970,175,905 naira for services of the government of Anambra State of Nigeria for the year ending 31st December 2023 and for connected purposes. Those in support that this bill passes the first reading, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it.
In his remarks, the chairman, House Committee on Finance and Appropriation, Chief Obinna Emeneka, lauded the governor for timely presentation of the budget and called on government ministries, departments and agencies to prepare for defense of the appropriation bill, which will commence soon.
I believe in this house. And I believe in what we've done in the past. And I believe in the budget we've also passed in this house. And if we are lawmakers and constitutional lawmakers, we will recall that as lawmakers, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria provides that we honorable members have the power to regulate our own proceedings.
Sure.
And regulation of that procedure supersedes our standing rule, but without discountenance or disregarding our standing rules.
On his part, The member representing Orumba South constituency, Honorable Emanwafo, noted that the 2023 appropriation bill will receive accelerated hearing and expressed joy that it captured Ezira Umuomako Enugu Umuonya Road, which he said is very critical to the development of Anambra State. Meanwhile, the Anambra State 2023 budget of acceleration has scaled first and second readings in the House.
About 22 million naira worth of enhanced smart agricultural equipment have been disbursed to farmers across the 8 federal government IFAD VCDP participating local government areas in Anambra State for dry season farming. Also distributed were over 1.5 million naira worth of simple hand tools for road maintenance to the newly added local government areas of Orumba South, Ihiala, and Obaru local government areas. Agri correspondent Chibuzo Obidike now reports.
Are 105 water pumps, knapsack sprayers and complete kits, wheelbarrows, diggers, rakes, cutlasses, among others. Inaugurating the distribution exercise at the State Agricultural Development Program Office in Awka, the Commissioner for Agriculture, Dr. Foster Ifejiofo, charged the beneficiaries to judiciously put the equipment to good use to close the yearning gap in food supply created by recent flooding. Dr. Ifejiofo, represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Mr. Chinedu Ike, enjoined farmers in Anambra State to migrate to regenerative agriculture to produce healthy foods.
One of the farmers about the powers of Nigeria and the nation, not very important, and the opposite Maria. So you see, now to go about on you see, can to question so because Anamaras unique on your man and Kay and Yaya on Katuziria, making the Ike, where it's Yeni, Megani, or Balu, Bapolu, I want
In his remarks, the State Program Coordinator, Federal Government IFAD VCDP, Mr. Nnamdi Aguncha, while announcing the release of $5 billion by IFAD for farmers affected by the deluge in Nigeria, disclosed that the State Coordination Office of the Federal Government IFAD VCDP will commence input disbursements for 2022 dry season farming soonest. Mr. Aguncha re-emphasized the need for them to ensure their farms against disasters like the deluge to have a fallback when indemnified.
We are still going to support you. No wonder you bring something today. By next week, I will help input so that you go back. That will put your ensure our farms and our equipment. So
earlier during a refresher course on best agronomical practices in rice and cassava farming, the State Agri Production Officer, Federal Government IFAD VCDP, Mr. Emmanuel Chukwukwelu, disclosed that a total of 120 hectares of rice farm was approved for Anambra State for the dry season farming, encouraging them not to lose hope. For another resource person, Mr. Ifeanyi Okoye, who took them on spraying technology, advised them to be well kitted and identify the class of weed to know the best chemical to use. In Awka, Chibuzo Obidike, ABS News.
The National Human Rights Commission is seeking the collaboration of the Anambra Broadcasting Service in protecting fundamental human rights of the citizenry. Its state coordinator in Anambra State, Barrister Obinna Madforo, said this when he led other top management staff of the commission in the state on a visit to the managing director of the Anambra Broadcasting Service, Chido Obidegu, at the corporate headquarters of the establishment in Awka. Blessing Dennis has the details.
Barrister Maduforo congratulated Sachido on his appointment as the managing director of Anambra Broadcasting Service and explained that the commission wants to strengthen its partnership with ABS to increase awareness on fundamental human rights as provided by Section 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. He said that the commission is also empowered to intervene in any form of rights infringements in cases such as broken marriages, child trafficking, rape, among others.
National Human Rights Commission has a core mandate, and our core mandate is to promote, protect and enforce human rights, to promote, to protect and to enforce human rights. We protect human rights when people come to our office with complaints. Sometimes we mediate, sometimes we instruct, etc.
Responding, Sachido called for a stronger implementation framework that will make it easier to enforce the law on any form of human rights violation.
Because people know their rights, out of one reason or the other, will become shy. Those that even know their rights, so they can't even, raise their voices. So you see that a lot of people are living in bondage. So that is where these human rights, I really, at ABS, we want to partner with you. We want to be able to, join hands with you, hold hands together, to be able to communicate, people's rights.
The Director of News and Current Affairs, Mr. Gabe Okbaleze, and the Head of Television of the Anambra Broadcasting Service, Mrs. Ifi Onachukwu, were present during the visit. National Human Rights Commission serve as extrajudicial mechanism for the respect and promotion of human rights and also provide avenues for public enlightenment, research, and dialogue in order to raise awareness on human rights. In Oka, Blessing Dennis reporting for ABS News.
The federal government of Nigeria says in a bid to decongest the prisons, over 12,000 inmates have been released from various correctional centers across the country within the last 6 years. Ekwi Ajide, our ABS Abuja Bureau correspondent, filed the report.
The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami disclosed this to members of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters during the 2023 budget defense session with the committee. Responding to a question from Senator Ajibola Bashiru, Malami said the federal government was able to decongest the over-congested prisons across the country through policy actions aside the Administration of Criminal Justice Act meant for expeditious dispensation of justice.
Of our actions plans and budget proposals was largely based on priorities targeted at involving a paradigm shift in our beloved country. The 2023 budget is therefore focused on the desire to rebuild the capacity of the justice subsector to meet with its ever-evolving complex national and international obligations, rebuild our ability to fight corruption, restore investors' confidence, recalibrate the economy, and inevitably facilitate peace and security in the nation.
Earlier in his remarks, the chairman of the committee, Senator Okpeyemi Bamidele, said the 2023 budget estimates for the Federal Ministry of Justice and its agencies as contained in the appropriation bill submitted by President Muhammadu Buhari is 71.291 billion naira. Senator Bamidele specifically commended the president for increasing the budgetary provisions of the Council of Legal Education from 2.7 billion naira it was in the 2022 fiscal year to 10.12 billion naira proposed for 2023 fiscal year.
The actual budgetary proposal for the Ministry of Justice and its parastatals that concern this committee with respect to today's exercise after deducting allocation to the aforesaid institutions is 26,660,703,513 naira only.
In Abuja, Princess Ekwi Ajide, ABS News.
And on the foreign scene, Iran's top diplomat has accused Western countries of promoting violence in the Islamic Republic by helping protesters to make weapons and Molotov cocktails. Street violence has flared across Iran since the death in police custody of Mahsa Amini on September 16 after arrest for allegedly flouting the country's hijab dress code for women. Dozens of people, mainly demonstrators but also security personnel, have been killed during the demonstrations, which the authorities have dubbed riots, and hundreds more have been arrested. In a phone call with United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, Iran's Foreign Minister Hussein Amir Abdullahian accused Western governments of promoting violence and teaching protesters to make weapons and Molotov cocktails through social media networks and the media. These actions led to the killing of police officers and insecurity in Iran, and they even prepared the ground for the terrorist action of the Islamic State group, he said, as quoted also on the ministry's website. Amir Abdullahian also criticized Western countries that have been pressing for a special session of the UN Human Rights Council to be held on Iran's response to the Armenian protests. In sports, President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated Team Nigeria on their spectacular performance in winning the silver medal at the African Continental Archery Championship held in Pretoria, South Africa. Rotimi Williams, Olatayo Olashinde, and Damilola Cholademi, who represented Nigeria in the men's 50-meter compound bow, won silver, coming second behind South Africa. In the mixed category comprising both genders, the president, in a statement by his media aide, Malam Garba Shehu in Abuja, commended the athletes for demonstrating the Nigerian value of bravery, passion and commitment in the maiden participation of the country in the African Archery Championship. According to President Buhari, this worthy achievement marks the beginning of a harvest of more celebrations in their professional career and other endeavors. The championship is being held every 2 years. Enugu community in Njikoka Council area stood still as the remains of late engineer Henry Eche was laid to rest. The late engineer Eche was interred at his country home, Etiti Awovo, Enugu. Chibuzo Obirike has the details.
He was buried amidst tears from his children, grandchildren, siblings, in-laws, admirers, and members of the Anglican Communion. In a sermon during the funeral service, the officiating priest, Venerable Chuks Onura, described the deceased as a true Christian whose life of impact was remarkable. He asked mourners to learn from the deceased's life and use the occasion as a point for sober reflection on the kind of life they live. In an interview, a daughter of the deceased, Mrs. Chinehu, said he was a role model by all standards. She said his death was untimely, but thank God for giving them a rare father and the best friend anyone could pray for, who was ready to sacrifice for them.
It is not easy for one to review his or her time, especially at this point, and there's so much insecurity in the state. May God bless them. I really do appreciate being his very last child. He's so much. He's way so much. And his everything, our gist, his laughter, this is his direction, his guidance, his kindness.
Appreciating all those that came to sympathize with the family, the first son of the deceased, Mr. Arinze Eche, who said they would miss their father a lot, described him as someone who groomed them into very successful people. He said their father was adored by those who came into contact with him, praying for his soul to rest in the bosom of the Lord.
Through thick and thin, my dad was my mentor. He's one of the reasons that I am who I am today. I owe everything I am today to my God and my father.
The news this morning, but remember you can follow ABS from any part of the world by liking our Facebook page at ABS Radio Television Oka. You can subscribe to our YouTube at ABS Television Oka. Follow us on Instagram at ABS Radio TV or log on to our website at www.absradiotv.com. Before we go, here are the main points again. We told you that Governor Soludo has urged the federal government to find lasting solution to the challenge of flooding in Nigeria. We also told you that the National Human Rights Commission is partnering ABS on protection of citizens' rights. Senate committee has commended President Buhari for increasing budgetary provisions for the Council of Legal Education. We also report that Iran is accusing Western countries of promoting violence in the Islamic Republic. We remind you that Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's continue to give him maximum support for the task ahead. Thanks for joining us on the news. I am David Opokwasile. The Weekend Show continues right after now. Stay with us.